Imagine this. You're walking down the street, minding your own business, when someone shouts an insult at you. Maybe it's about your appearance, your work, or something deeply personal. Your heart races, your face flushes, and suddenly, you're consumed by anger, shame, or even self-doubt. Sound familiar? We've all been there. Criticism and insults sting. They cut deep. But what if I told you that the way you react to these moments could change your life? What if you could face them not with rage or hurt, but with calm, clarity, and even compassion? This is the power of Stoicism. Today, we're diving into the art of dealing with criticism and insults like a Stoic. By the end of this, you'll see these moments not as attacks, but as opportunities for growth. Let's start with a simple truth. Criticism and insults are inevitable. No matter who you are, where you come from, or what you do, someone, somewhere, will criticize you. It could be a stranger on the internet, a coworker, a friend, or even a family member. The Stoics understood this better than anyone. They knew that the world is full of opinions, and not all of them will be kind. But here's the thing. The Stoics didn't see this as a problem. They saw it as a fact of life, like rain or sunshine. And just as you wouldn't get angry at the rain for falling, you don't have to get angry at criticism for existing. The first step to dealing with criticism like a Stoic is to accept its inevitability. It's going to happen. The question is, how will you respond? Let me tell you a story about Epictetus, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers. Epictetus was born a slave, and his life was filled with hardship and humiliation. Yet he became one of the most respected teachers of his time. How? By mastering his mind. One of his most famous teachings is this: it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Think about that for a moment. When someone criticizes or insults you, they're just saying words. Those words only have power if you give them power. Epictetus would say that the insult itself doesn't harm you. It's your judgment about the insult that harms you. In other words, it's not the criticism that hurts, it's your reaction to it. So, how do you change your reaction? The Stoics had a powerful tool for this: perspective. When someone criticizes or insults you, pause. Take a step back. Ask yourself, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this within my control? Most of the time, the answer is no. The criticism is just someone's opinion. And opinions are like clouds. They come and go. They don't define you. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, wrote in his private journal, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." When you shift your perspective, you realize that the only thing you truly control is your own mind, and that's where your power lies. But let's be honest, this is easier said than done. When someone insults you, it's natural to feel hurt or angry. The Stoics didn't deny these emotions. They acknowledged them. But they also knew that emotions are like waves. They rise, they crash, and they fade. The key is not to let them sweep you away. Seneca, another great Stoic, wrote, "The greatest remedy for anger is delay." When you feel that surge of emotion, don't act on it immediately. Take a breath. Count to 10. Give yourself time to cool down. This simple act of pause can prevent you from saying or doing something you'll regret. It's not about suppressing your emotions. It's about mastering them. Now let's talk about the deeper meaning behind criticism and insults. The Stoics believe that everything happens for a reason, and that includes negative experiences. When someone criticizes or insults you, it's an opportunity to learn. Ask yourself, is there any truth to what they're saying? Could this be a chance to improve? Even if the criticism is unfair or mean-spirited, there's often a kernel of truth hidden within it. The Stoics called this the gift of criticism. It's not always easy to accept, but it can be incredibly valuable. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the obstacle is the path. Criticism, no matter how harsh, can be a stepping stone to growth. But what if the criticism is completely baseless? What if it's just someone trying to hurt you? This is where Stoicism really shines. The Stoics believe that people who insult or criticize others are often acting out of ignorance or pain. They're projecting their own insecurities onto you. As Epictetus said, when someone speaks ill of you, don't try to defend yourself. Instead, say, "He doesn't know my other faults," or "he would have mentioned those as well." This might sound harsh, but it's actually a profound act of compassion. When you realize that the person insulting you is struggling with their own demons, it's easier to let go of your anger. You don't have to agree with them, but you can choose not to take their words personally. This brings us to another key Stoic principle, amor fati, or the love of fate. The Stoics believe that everything that happens to us, good or bad, is an opportunity to practice virtue. Criticism and insults are no exception. Instead of resisting them, embrace them. See them as a test of your character. Can you stay calm in the face of adversity? Can you respond with kindness instead of anger? Can you find a lesson in the experience? When you approach criticism with this mindset, it loses its power over you. You become like a rock in a storm, unshaken, unmoved. Let me share a personal story to illustrate this. A few years ago, I received a harsh critique of my work. It was public, it was brutal, and it hit me right where I was most vulnerable. My first instinct was to lash out, to defend myself, to prove the critic wrong. But then I remembered the Stoic teachings. I took a step back and asked myself, is this true? Is this helpful? Is this within my control? The answer to all three questions was no. So instead of reacting, I chose to reflect. I asked myself what I could learn from the experience. And you know what? That critique, as painful as it was, helped me grow. It made me stronger, more resilient, and more compassionate. It was a gift in disguise. This is the essence of Stoicism, turning obstacles into opportunities. When someone criticizes or insults you, they're giving you a chance to practice patience, humility, and self-control. They're giving you a chance to rise above the noise and stay true to yourself. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury." In other words, the best way to respond to criticism is not with more criticism, but with grace and dignity. Now, I know what you're thinking. This all sounds great in theory, but how do I actually do it? How do I stay calm when someone is hurling insults at me? How do I find the lesson in the pain? The answer is practice. Stoicism is not a one-time fix. It's a way of life. It's about training your mind to see the world differently. Start small. The next time someone criticizes you, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself the Stoic questions. Is this true? Is this helpful? Is this within my control? Over time, these questions will become second nature. You'll start to see criticism not as a threat, but as a teacher. And remember, you're not alone in this. The Stoics were just like us, flawed, human, and constantly striving to be better. They faced criticism and insults too, but they chose to rise above them. You can do the same. It won't always be easy, but it will always be worth it. As Seneca said, difficulties strengthen the mind, as labor does the body. Every time you face criticism with grace, you're building mental muscle. You're becoming stronger, wiser, and more resilient. So, the next time someone criticizes or insults you, don't let it break you. Let it make you. See it as an opportunity to practice Stoicism, to grow, and to become the best version of yourself. Remember, the only thing you truly control is your mind. And when you master your mind, you master your life. This is the power of Stoicism. This is how you deal with criticism and insults like a Stoic.